less than that. So let me show you how to hone really quick. So first you got to get you a nice honing rod. You can get these pretty much everywhere. And then you want a cutting board. If your blade of your knife, the cutting edge, touches something harder than the knife, like your table, a metal table, your countertop, that's when it is going to dull and you're going to have to sharpen. So just in case we miss, we want a cutting board down below. And don't think that you can come in here like you're some professional.
Good morning. It is 7 a.m. A quorum is present and the meeting has been duly called and posted in the time and manner required by law. I would like to invite Nancy Rasco from Bethany Baptist Church to open our meeting with a prayer and lead the audience in the pledges to the American and Texas flags. Nancy.
Dear Dear Lord in heaven, we come to this time. We thank you for today. We thank you for thy many blessings, Father, and thank you for all these people that have taken their time to take care of our children and love on our children and do what's right for them. Be with us. In Jesus' holy name we pray. Amen.
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Honor the Texas flag. I pledge allegiance to thee, Texas, one state, under God, one and indivisible.
Thank you very much, Nancy. We appreciate you being here to open our meeting in a wonderful way. We appreciate you. Okay, we will start with recognition. Much like the last meeting, we have a pretty great group of kids to recognize. So we're going to start with the recognition of our Texas Spanish Spelling Bee qualifiers. I'd like to invite Margaret Del Toro, our bilingual and ESL coordinator, to the podium to do those recognitions.
Good morning, President Bridges, Dr. Rollo, and Board of Trustees. We are honored to recognize our Spanish Spelling Bee winners today. They participated in the Regional Spanish Spelling Bee hosted by Texas Tech Sigma Delta Pi in November. There are several parents, guardians in the audience whose primary language is Spanish. Therefore, I will be providing recognition to our students in a dual language format. We are extremely proud of the students' hard work and want to also thank their coaches as they are recognized. Yesnaili Martinez es una estudiante de séptimo grado en la escuela secundaria Atkins. Ella obtuvo el primer lugar en la competencia. Yesnaili es entrenada por la señora Cristina Halford. Ella siempre ha contado con el apoyo de sus padres, señor y señora Margarito Martinez. Yesnaili Martinez is a 7th grade student at Atkins Middle School. She placed first at the competition and is coached by Ms. Christina Halford. Yesnaili is supported by her parents, Mr. and Mrs. Margarito Martinez. Did you take a picture? Yes, okay. Dylan Jiménez es un estudiante de 8º grado en la escuela secundaria Atkins. Él obtuvo el segundo lugar en la competencia. Dylan es entrenado por la señora Christina Halford. Él siempre ha contado con el apoyo de sus padres, señora Nancy Contreras y señor Miguel Jiménez. Dylan Jiménez is an 8th grade student at Atkins Middle School. He placed second at the competition and is coached by Ms. Christina Halford. Dylan is supported by his parents, Mrs. Nancy Contreras and Mr. Miguel Jiménez. Olinka Barragán es una estudiante de 6º grado en la escuela secundaria Hutch. Ella obtuvo el tercer lugar en la competencia. Olinka es entrenada por la señora Yuri Silvestre Luevano. Ella siempre ha contado con el apoyo de sus padres, el señor Alfonso Barragán Rocío y señora Gabriela Prieto Soriano. Olinka Barragán is a 6th grade student at Hutch Middle School. She placed 3rd at the competition and is coached by Mrs. Yuri Silvestre Luevano. Olinka is supported by her parents, Mr. Alfonso Barragán Rocío and Mrs. Gabriela Prieto Soriano. Mauricio Jiménez es un estudiante de 7º grado en la escuela secundaria Hutch. Él fue finalista de la competencia. Mauricio es entrenado por la señora Yuri Silvestre Luevano. Él siempre ha contado con el apoyo de sus padres, el señor y señora Jesús Jiménez. Jimena Jiménez es una estudiante de 4º grado en la escuela primaria de McWhorter. Ella fue finalista en la competencia. Ella es entrenada por la señora Niobé Martínez. Ella siempre ha tenido el apoyo de sus padres, el señor y señora David Jiménez. Jimena is a 4th grade student at McWhorter Elementary. She was a finalist in the competition and is coached by Mrs. Niobé Martinez. Jimena is supported by her parents, Mr. and Mrs. David Jiménez. So all 5 of these students qualified to compete at the inaugural Texas State Spanish Spelling Bee in El Paso in June. And if we could give them another round of applause. Principals, yes, and coaches.
Can we make 2 rows with the principals and coaches in the back? We'll move the students to the front, please. Perfect. All right, looking here. Here goes. Ready? 1, 2, and 3. And one more. There it is. Thank you.
Thank you, Margaret. Okay, we are going to next recognize our PTA Reflections state qualifiers. So I'd like to invite Phyllis Underwood, our Community Relations Coordinator, to the podium.
Okay, thank you. We've got some outstanding students to recognize this morning, and I'm getting a list of who is not able to attend. So, Cash, are we starting out with you? Okay, Cash is one of our PTA Reflections Contest state qualifiers. You'll just go this way, you go that way. And then we have Madeline Mitchell. Hank Smith is one of our Reflection State qualifiers. Nora Lindley. Joaquin Sanchez, state qualifier. Frankie Baum. Samuel Iapolo. Another state qualifier is Alexander Bowen. Marlo Barnes, state qualifier, Reflections. And Allison Phillips. I would like to mention those while they're finishing the picture that were not able to be here this morning. Evelyn Clark, Rosala Garcia, and Anaya Hosea, and Riley Garza, and Benya Gagnon. Congratulations.
Hey, Phyllis, while we're getting them up, can you tell us a little bit, tell the audience about what qualified, why
Let
they are
me
state qualified?
reflect back here to our Reflections Director, Kate. Do you want to come up and tell us about Reflections? She has helped put this together with the PTA Council for the last 2 years, 3 years?
Yeah, put me on the spot.
Well, I have no notes, Kate, so go.
I got it. Thank you. So Reflections is a Texas State PTA arts program where students from pre-K through high school can submit work based on a given theme for the year. So this year's theme was accepting imperfection. And the students that you see here are from across Lubbock ISD. And this year we had work that was submitted And just kind of looking at the group, we have literature, poetry, music composition, painting, drawing, photography. It was a really broad and comprehensive group of kids who had work submitted from their school level competition to us at council PTA, so sort of the regional level. And then at our level, the students you see here, these works were selected to go to the state level PTA. And just one final shout out, Allison Phillips from Talkington, her work was selected to go to nationals from the state PTA. So that is an ongoing process. So thank you so much for recognizing them this morning. Arts is such an essential part of public education, and this is a project that they do outside of their school curriculum. So they're very kind of independently motivated and disciplined to do that. So thank their parents and families in supporting them in this project as well. Okay, I think that's it.
That's great. Oh my God. Thank you, Kate. I wonder if Kate will ever speak to me again, but she, you were able to recant that beautifully. Most of that I didn't even know. So that tells you that the Council of PTA is a critical part of Lubbock ISD, and Kate is one of our leaders, and there's several others in the room. So thank you again, Kate. I hope you'll talk to me when I see you next week. Tuesday.
Me too.
Maybe.
Oh, look, it's a accordion wall. I'm tempted to touch that accordion wall.
I'll be looking excited now. Come on.
Cash will get you to send it. Go, good. All right. Is this everybody? All right, looking good.
Oh, wait.
Good. All right, here goes. Ready? Looking here. 1, 2, and 3.
Here you go.
And one more. 1, 2, and 3. There it is.
Are we good? Okay. All right, next we are recognizing the Doyle Vogler Memorial Scholarship Awards, and Phyllis is going to continue recognizing these outstanding students.
Okay, this is our second year to recognize scholarship winners in honor of Doyle Vogler Memorial Scholarship. And our first two students are from Coronado High School. Go Stangs. Cesar Garcia is our first award winner. Jade Roden, also from Coronado High School. Another scholarship winner, but this time from Estacada, is Keziah Ranson. And Helena Komga. I'll recognize us in a minute. And next from Lubbock High School is Nok Duang. Also from Lubbock High School is Diane Gutierrez. Alina Christensen from Talkington School for Young Women Leaders. And those that were not here today are Tanner Epley, he's with Monterey, and Jax Law is also a Monterey Scholarship winner. Now, when they line up for pictures, Beth, I can talk a little bit more about this.
Please,
So,
yes.
if you all will gather up for your group photo. This year, the Foundation for Excellence Scholarship Committee reviewed thoroughly 64 applications. You 8 winners that are here today, did you hear that? 64 students applied for the Doyle Vogler Memorial Scholarship. And they take into consideration things that you're doing now, things that you will be doing. They look for students that are have had some hard roads and have risen above and help support their families and come from all walks of life. And we are honored to be able to award you this scholarship in recognition and in memory of Doyle Vogler. Congratulations. Again, I'm going to knock you down. Stop that.
All right, looking here. Here goes. Ready? 1, 2, and 3. And one more.
Okay, we will move on to recognition of our TAME Engineering State Qualifiers. I'd like to invite Amy Baker, our Executive Director of Career and Technical Education, to the podium.
Good
Hello,
morning, Dr. Rolo Board. I am excited to recognize today our state qualifiers in the TAME organization. TAME is the Texas Alliance for Minorities in Engineering. These students competed in the regional competition hosted at Texas Tech University, and we had 9 student qualifiers from Lubbock ISD who will be competing at the state competition at Rice University in May. TAME's engineering competitions challenge students to apply engineering concepts through multi-step, team-based challenges. Participants work collaboratively with their peers from other schools and other districts in assigned roles to solve real-world problems. This actually marks the first year since COVID that we were able to have a competition. So this is exciting that we had state qualifiers our first year back. We have several students that can't be here today. I'm going to start by reading those names first. From Talkington, the students that could not be here: Gabriella Balderas, J.C. Baxter, Jordan Gill, and Camille Powell. With that, I would like to recognize our students who are here with us today. First state qualifier from Talkington, Ashlyn Bunnell. Next, no surprise here, Amarachi Uche Ibo. These 6 students were coached by their incredible advisor from Talkington, Sabrina Moulter. I'm going to clap for Sabrina. Do we want to take a quick Talkington picture? Or are we going to do them all together? Okay, great. Next, I'd like to recognize state qualifiers from Atkins Middle School. It's incredible that we have our middle school students participating in the TAME organization. We just love it. Our students that could not be here today, Daniel Hodges and Peyton Neva, and we would like to recognize Cash Collins as a state qualifier. Atkins Middle School students are sponsored by their amazing advisor, Julie Williams, who pours into these students on a daily basis. Congratulations, Julie, for your efforts as well. want to take a team picture? Yeah.
All right, looking here. Here goes. Ready? 1, 2, and 3. And one more.
And I believe before we move on to our next student organization, we're going to take a quick break for parents to be able to come in for the next round of awards.
All right. Ms. Baker, please continue with recognition of our DECA state qualifier.
Thank you so much. It's a privilege to be able to recognize these outstanding students. If you have never heard of DECA, DECA is actually an international association for marketing students. So it's one of our CTE organizations. These students compete in marketing, finance, hospitality, management. In addition to competitive events, they also engage in leadership development and community service. We have 18 students who competed at the state competition this year in DECA. From Monterey High School, I'd like to introduce Zayden Castaneda. Malachi Cortez. Malachi's judges at the district competition came to me specifically to talk about what an outstanding and bright young man he was, and they all wanted to hire him. Carolina Esquivel. Chloe Lambrelli. Kenny Moreno. I told them you were going to test their handshake since it's a business organization, so feel free. Jordan Sanchez. I skipped. Yep. Caleb Tungate. Those were our qualifiers for Monterey High School. They are coached by Jody Crane. And just one more accolades to Monterey. They were actually recognized at the national level for their community service campaign for this year. Incredible. Were you doing a Monterey picture? Okay, Monterey DECA.
Ready? Put your certificate up. There you go. Yep. All right. Here goes. Ready? 1, 2, and 3. And one more. There it is.
Next are our state qualifiers from Lubbock High School DECA. And just to give you a little bit of context, we have not had DECA in the district for almost 2 decades. This is the first year that this student organization has come back. And really, it's because of these students at Lubbock High in Monterey who continually harassed the CTE director and their principals and begged and asked to bring this organization to their campuses. It was amazing. I'd like to first recognize state qualifier and the District 8 president, Nandana Anand. Laura Anderton. Michael Batista. Nora Duong, Lubbock High School president. Naomi Lafayette. Omisha Narala. And Arpin Oja. We do have a few students that could not be here today for other school activities. We have Elizabeth Balderas and David Dass, who are competing in tennis, Grant McCall, who is with Skills USA, and Nate Naiman, who is in class today. Thank you to all the support of the Lubbock High School administration in allowing us to have this student organization this year.
Here goes. Ready? 1, 2, and 3. And one more. 1, 2, and 3.
Congratulations.
Okay, we will move to recognizing our National Speech and Debate Association Tournament qualifiers. I'd like to invite Chad Haskins, our Advanced Academics Coordinator, to present.
Hi, good morning, President Bridges, Dr. Rollo, ladies and gentlemen of the board. As always, it is a distinct pleasure to recognize these academically talented individuals. Through regular season competition and rigorous qualifying processes, 9 Lubbock ISD students have qualified to represent the district in one or more of the prestigious speech and debate tournaments. We will recognize students competing in 3 different speech and debate tournaments today. So I'll start with a brief overview of each one. The first is the Texas Forensics Association State Tournament. This is a state tournament or state competition where students qualify by earning points through regular season. Students who qualified competed in Katy, Texas in late March. The next tournament is the National Individual Events Tournament of Champions, or TOC, a national competition where students qualify by earning bids at specific qualifier tournaments. Each student must receive 2 bids per event to compete. Students qualifying for the TOC will compete in Kansas City, Missouri in May. And then finally, our National Speech and Debate Association, or NSDA tournament, is another prestigious competition where students must qualify through district level events. The top 3 students in each category advance to represent the district in the NSDA Nationals. It is important to note that this district, or the district that we compete in, is the 2nd largest in the country, so of course competition is intense there. These tournaments include a variety of speech and debate events, each requiring unique skills and preparation. The events that students can compete in are informative speaking, Lincoln Douglas debate, international extemporaneous speaking, domestic extemporaneous speaking, original oratory, poetry interpretation, humorous or dramatic interpretation, program oral interpretation, congressional debate, and world schools debate. So these students have demonstrated incredible dedication and skills, and we're very proud to celebrate their achievements on both the state and national level. So, our first group to be recognized is our Lubbock High teams. help me recognize Kayla Bueno. Kayla qualified. Kayla qualified to compete in the TFA tournament in poetry. Right, next we'll recognize Vera Rose Giemza. Vera Rose competed in, so she qualified to compete in the TFA tournament in international extemporaneous speaking and original oratory. Okay, next is Talon Hawk. Talon qualified to compete in the TFA tournament in international extemporaneous speaking. Okay, next is Grant McCall. Grant could not be here today, but he qualified to compete in the NSDA tournament in Congressional Debate Senate. Next is Sanvi Sharma. Oh, sorry. So, next is Sanvi Sharma, and Sanvi could not be here as well. She qualified to compete in the NSDA tournament in World Schools Debate. Okay, next is Mason Whitty. Mason qualified to compete in the TOC tournament in humorous interpretation, dramatic interpretation, program oral interpretation, and in the NSDA tournament in humorous interpretation. So Lubbock High is coached by the outstanding Andrew Vandenover. Do we do a group picture or do we want to go on? And we'll do a Lubbock High picture, so Lubbock High will come up and administrators.
Here goes. Ready? 1, 2, 3, and one more. There it is.
All right, our next group to be recognized are our Monterey High School team. We will start with, I can't see without my eyeballs, and we will start with Sean Gifford. And Sean qualified to compete in the TOC tournament in domestic extemporaneous speaking and in the NSDA tournament in international extemporaneous speaking. Okay. Next is Haley Rowan. Haley qualified to compete in the TFA tournament in Lincoln Douglas debate. Then our final Monterey qualifier is Briley Williams. And Briley qualified to compete in all 3 tournaments in informative speaking. And Monterey High School is coached by the outstanding Victoria Wood. Sorry, I mispronounced the names. That was Brielle Williams. My apologies. So, all right. And then while we're finalizing pictures, I just also want to say thank you to parents and administrators who support these students in these programs. Thank you very much.
Okay, we will continue with recognition of our mock trial state qualifying team. I'd like to invite Robin Fulbright, our Executive Director of Teaching and Learning, to recognize these students.
Good morning, board. Good morning, Dr. Rollo. Good morning, family members and guests. I am just so excited to get to introduce to you the mock trial team from the Talkington School for Young Women Leaders. Recently, this team competed in the regional mock trial competition held at the Lubbock County Courthouse. This event brought together nearly 30 licensed attorneys, courtroom judges, and law students from Texas Tech who contributed their expertise to score, preside over, and offer invaluable insight to our teams. Mock trial competitors are not only challenged by the intensity of courtroom drama, but also by the need for thoughtful research, compelling debate, and a deep understanding of the legal system. Our Talkington team rose to that challenge, earning top honors at the regional level, and then they advanced to the state mock trial tournament where they earned 11th place in Texas. We are incredibly proud of the hard work and dedication shown by these talented students. First, I would like to recognize the students who are unable to be with us today, and so that from Talkington would be Treasure Coino. We're very proud of her work. I'm going to go ahead and clap for her. And also unable to be with us today is Elena Lucero, and Elena is actually a Monterey High School student. She qualified to go to state as the courtroom artist, so let's give her some recognition. Okay, so present today with us from the Talkington mock trial team, help me recognize and honor Michaela Brown. Miranda Birchfield. Ella Christensen. Briley Harrison. Nora Islam. Kelly Leach. Catherine Latonia. Marissa Lugo. Kate McCauley. And their courtroom artist, which I just want to recognize out loud, Madeline McDonald. Is she here today? No, okay, Madeline McDonald. We wanted to. Their coach is Corey Butler. Ashley Cox was their attorney advisor, and Tiffany Longoria is their principal. So, congratulations. And do we want a picture of the Talkington mock trial team? Very good.
Goes looking here. Ready? 1, 2, and 3. One more. And last one.
Well, I also have the honor of announcing to you the Lubbock ISD students who earned top honors at the 2024 South Plains Regional Science and Engineering Fair. These students qualified to advance to the Texas State Science and Engineering Fair. Several students also received special recognition and awards from local, state, and national organizations for outstanding achievements in science and engineering. First, I'd like to recognize a student who was unable to be with us today, August Ramsey. Congratulations to August. August is a Lubbock High student. So to begin with, we will begin with the student from McCool Academy. Help me congratulate Andre Shaw Jr. And just to read you a little of the accomplishments of Andre, Andre placed first place in the biological division for 6th graders. He won the Texas Commission on Environmental Quality Excellence Award, Thermo Fisher Scientific Junior Innovator Award. He was a state qualifier and a national qualifier in Thermo Fisher JIC Fair, which means the top 6 middle school students. So congratulations, Andre. Now we'll move to the recipients from Lubbock High School, and help me congratulate Felipe de Farias. Some of Felipe's honors: he won the Stockholm Junior Water Prize Regional Qualifier, the Dr. John Marks Excellence in Chemistry Award, the American Chemical Society Award, Carmen McCain Memorial High School Outstanding Water Project. He was first place in the 11th grade physical division. He, of course, advanced to state, and he is a national qualifier in ISEF. So congratulations to that. Next from Lubbock High is Ruhan Reddy. Some of his accomplishments include first place Biological Sciences Division, first place for 11th graders, the Regeneron Excellence in Biomedical Sciences Award, the Sandy Hancock and Rita McDaniel Excellence in Biological Science Award. He won the Texas Tech STEM Core Excellence Inventor Award, and he is a state qualifier. So. Next is Vedant Patel. Vedant has a first place ribbon. He was third place for 11th graders. He won the Outstanding Physics and Astronomy Award, which came with a $100 cash prize, and he is a state qualifier. Next, still from Lubbock High, we have a team project. So help me congratulate Raghav Nandana and Nathan Huang. They won second place overall in the biological division, and they are state qualifiers.
Individual photo and then
Okay.
back here, we'll do it.
Team. And then last but certainly not least, from the Talkington School for Young Women Leaders, we have Amarechi Uche Ibo. Her accomplishments include the Association for Women Geoscientists Award, West Texas Women in STEAM Award. She's an XFAB Award winner, which came with a $100 cash prize, and she is a state qualifier. And last, but certainly not least, we have Marlo Barnes. Marlo won the American Meteorological Society Award. She won an XFAB Award with a cash prize of $50, Thermo Fisher Scientific Junior Innovators Challenge, first place in the 6th grade physical division, and she is a state qualifier. These teams are coached by Catherine Preno at Talkington, by Christine Taff at Lubbock High, and by Sabrina Moulter at, that's Talkington. McCool was my first one. Perhaps we would like a picture with all regional science fair, their principals, and their coaches. So.
over here.
You'll hold your certificate up for the photo.
Make sure the right side up. You want me to switch places?
No, you're good. All right.
Okay.
She have to read all of this.
Well, what phenomenal students we have, and teachers, and parents, and families, and everybody. It's amazing. So, thank everyone for being here. That concludes our recognition. So, an executive closed session will be held under the provisions of Texas Government Code Chapter 551. At this time, it is 7:47 a.m., and we are adjourned to closed session. It is 9:12 a.m. and we are reconvened from executive closed session. Do we have any actions following closed session?
We do.
Trustee Ratliff.
I move that we ratify the assignment of Cody Brockman as the principal of Irons Middle School.
We have a motion. Is there a second?
Second.
All right. A motion is second. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, same sign. Motion carries.
Thank you. Good morning, President Bridges, Board of Trustees, Dr. Rollo. I stand before you with deep gratitude and a strong sense of purpose as I accept the role of principal at Irons Middle School. This is not just a position to me, it is a calling. I believe schools are more than just buildings where education happens. They are the heart of the community, the foundation with which futures are built. I know Irons has incredible potential, but I also recognize the challenges we face. But challenges to me are just simple opportunities in disguise. We have the power to change the trajectory of lives, to create an environment where students are not only educated but inspired, where teachers feel supported and empowered, and where families feel like partners in the learning process. However, this doesn't happen overnight, and it doesn't happen alone. It requires trust, collaboration, and a shared vision. And my first priority is just going to be to listen to teachers, students, parents, and to the community. I want to understand their concerns, their hopes, and their ideas. Together, we can build a culture of accountability, excellence, and respect. We will set high expectations, not just for students, but for ourselves and educators. We will create a culture where learning is engaging, where innovation is encouraged, and where we prepare our students not just for tests, but we're going to prepare them for life. We will foster a school environment that is safe, inclusive, and welcoming to all. This work will not be easy, but with the good Lord as my captain and the amazing support I have here, Carissa, Sai, Daniel, and Isabella, with the support of numerous colleagues, friends, confidants, and this amazing LISD family, I believe that together we can transform and make this a model of excellence.
Amen.
I promise you this, I'm committed, I'm ready, and I want to thank you for your trust, your support, and your partnership. I look forward to leading alongside you to make Irons and taking Irons to new heights. Thank you very much.
Well said, and welcome to Irons. Trustees, any comments? You want to introduce your family?
Yes, sorry, this is Carissa, my wife, and then Sai, he's the 8th grader at Hutch. Daniel's over there. He's a pre-K right now at Wolford, and then we have Isabella right there who's making all the noise. And
Good for
all the
her.
ruckus.
We like a noisy woman.
Beautiful family.
Thank you.
Cody, I was telling Jason that they have a gem in you, and we know it. So we're going to miss you terribly, but you're just down the road. You know, you're going
ma'am.
to fit in well. You'll collaborate with folks. You've always done phenomenal things. Ms. Cunningham can attest to that. Dr. Cunningham, excuse me. But I'm grateful for what you've done in Guadalupe and Wolford, and I know you'll continue that same track.
Well, I
May God
appreciate
bless
it.
you and your family.
Thank you. It's been those experiences that I've been able to learn and grow, and I love that Northern Lubbock community, and excited about this new opportunity.
I'm excited for you.
Thank you, ma'am.
I've heard very excellent things about you. Welcome on board.
Well, thank you, ma'am. I appreciate you.
I would first ask if you intentionally wore socks that had Irons Middle School colors. Because that is fantastic.
Socks are kind of my trademark, so I mix and match.
And you're observant.
I had actually also written down challenges versus opportunities to share with you, and I do think this opportunity is amazing, and you won't find anyone more invested than me, as my kids have all gone through and currently have one there now. But the work that the parents at Irons Middle School want so bad to achieve is the continuity of an amazing feeder pattern. I mean, you can see they're all here.
Yes, sir.
They've all served my family amazingly. They've served all the parents in District 3 amazingly, and man, what a great opportunity that you'll have my full and as much support as I can offer you. I'll be there anytime you need. So.
Well, I appreciate that. I look forward to working with you. And then you're right, the schools in the feeder pattern, I've already been talking to them. They've already been reaching out. They're an amazing group of leaders that I'm excited to work with and learn from as well.
Congratulations, Mr. Brockman. I
Thank you,
wish
sir.
you nothing but the best. Irons was a special place for my oldest, as well as the Coronado feeder, and so it holds a special place. I'd be remiss if I didn't think of Doyle Vogler this morning as we recognize some kids that got awarded. I pray that we give those kids a glimpse into who he was. These last 2 years have been extremely challenging in public ed, and I wish nothing more than to go have a beer with him at Gators Bayou to get his wisdom and direction. I think he would have served us well during these times, and so it's awesome to think of him. And then I had the opportunity to listen to Amarachi Uchi-Ibo, and I hope I pronounced that correctly. That young lady has it together as a 17-year-old more than I think the vast majority of us in this room. And so she is a shining light for not only Talkington, but for LISD, for South Plains. I mean, that young woman, kudos to her parents. I'm sure we can't be as proud of as they are, but I think I'm darn close. I mean, she was, I've never heard a young person, man or woman, speak like she spoke in that interview for YWCA. And so I hope we continue to lift those folks up and brag on them as much as we can, not only in this district, but this city. I think we're going to hear that name in something big in the future.
Sure. Say congratulations, Cody. You used the term partners in the learning process. I think you're strengthening the partnership across that feeder pattern. That's Coronado's my alma mater. Mr. Huber's my old next door neighbor. And then my wife, Katie, all the way through Smith, Irons, and Coronado. So like a lot of my colleagues here, something that's close to my heart, and wish you all the best in that. Congratulations to the kids who were recognized this morning. Inaugural Texas Spanish Spelling Bee. That's an awesome thing to be able to say in here. You look at breakdown of demographics in our district, and that's something that we probably should have been doing a long time ago, but glad that we're doing it now. I learned some new things like Thermo Fisher Scientific Innovators Challenge.
Impressive you even wrote that down.
Yeah, I had to look it up and write it down. And then awards for extemporaneous speaking, which I also Googled, and come to find out you get to read about a subject for 30 minutes and then speak about it for 7 minutes, which sounds terrifying. So congrats to all these kids. Exciting day.
Congratulations, Cody. I loved how you started things out about listening. I think that we could all live by that, is to start by listening. So
Amen.
Congratulations. You're going to do great things. And I had 2 kiddos in Irons one day, and so glad you're going to be there.
Yep.
And then to echo everybody else's about such great students we had. And I got to listen to the Talkington women, one of their early mock trial competitions, and they were actually competing against my sister's team from the Metroplex, and she was thoroughly humbled, her team thoroughly humbled by how well Talkington did. So anyway, really proud of all the students recognized.
Just reiterate what Nancy, I didn't know we were going to be doing trustees' comments. We were talking about Cody. Now how we switched over. Ryan did this. Sorry, Cody. It was about you at this point. Long story short, I just want to thank the parents, the staff, everybody helping these kiddos to get where they need to be at. Again, this is exactly what LISD does. We have great administrators, staff, to get them where they need to be. We had kiddos that came through here twice. So again, that speaks volumes about our kids. And Ron, I can't agree with you more in regards to that young lady. We're going to see her name somewhere. And a few other kids. Jason and I were talking about a few other kids. I go, oh, he's going to be somebody. So I'm really impressed by our kids time and time again. But again, congratulations, Cody. My girls actually went to Irons when it was a junior high. 7th, 8th, and 9th, Yvonne and Sonia. Amazing program that they had there once upon a time.
Rollo, any comments?
Yes, I just want to say that, Cody, we believe in you. We have great faith in you. You are a proven principal to change culture, to build academic success, and we are looking forward to great things at Irons, and we're here to support you 100% of the way.
Okay, Okay, we're going to take a short break, so photos, so we can get those out on the interwebs, and we'll take about a 3 or 4 minute, 5 minute, something like that break.
Yes.
is 9:28 a.m. We are reconvened after that short break. It is now time for citizen comments. However, we did not have any members of the public signed up in advance to speak. Do we have any members of the public that have signed up this morning to address the board regarding any posted agenda items? No? Okay, hearing none, we will move on to administrative action items. First on the agenda is a long one that I will read through. So, consideration and possible approval of 2025 general election items. The items for consideration are as follows. Number 1, consideration and possible approval of resolution to conduct a joint election on May 3rd, 2025, with all cities and schools with territory inside Lubbock County that may require a May 3rd, 2025 election. 2, consideration and possible approval of the joint election contract with Lubbock County for 2025 elections. Number 3, consideration and possible approval to appoint Roxanne Stinson, elections administrator, to serve as the joint elections officer. 4th, consideration and possible approval to appoint Roxanne Stinson, elections administrator, to serve as the joint early voting clerk. Number 5, consideration and possible approval to appoint the elections office located at 1308 Crickets Avenue as the main early voting polling place. Number 6, consideration and possible appointment of Roxanne Stinson as central count manager, Karen Cruz as tabulation supervisor, and Beth Bender as central county presiding judge. Number 7, consideration and possible appointment of Sandy Salazar, Kevin Duarte, and Language USA as bilingual election clerks for the May 3rd, 2025 election. Number 8, consideration and possible appointment of Ronnie Gallagher as early voting ballot board judge and Beth Shapiro as alternate early voting ballot board judge for the May 3rd, 2025 election. Number 9, consideration and possible appointment of judges and rovers for each vote center for election day as shown on Exhibit 1. Number 10, consideration and possible approval of resolution to adopt use of Hart InterCivic Verity Duo Controller version 2.5.3, the Hart Verity Duo Rider version 2.5.3, the Hart Verity Scanner version 2.5.2, and the Hart Verity Duo Go for the May 3rd, 2025 election. And number 11, consideration and possible approval of early voting and election day polling locations as shown on Exhibit 2. Dr. Rollo, do you have any other additional information?
I really do not. This is all related to our May 3rd bond election.
Okay, do I have a collective motion to approve the list of election items for the general election to be held May 3rd, 2025 as presented?
So moved.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. All those in favor, please indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, same sign. Motion carries 7-0. Thank you. Okay, we will move on to our workshop, and we're going to begin with progress measures. So Kim Callison, our Assistant Superintendent for Teaching and Learning, will present our quarterly update, I believe.
Thank you, ma'am. I don't know why I brought glasses. I don't really need them. Good morning, President Bridges, Board of Trustees, Dr. Rollo. As always, it's nice to be here today to give you a progress update around our third 9 weeks assessment. And I've got the executive coaching team behind me. They threatened to stand up and walk out when I started talking, so don't let them leave the room. So today we'll of course start with our North Star goal, which is that by 2026, 80% of our campuses will be served by an A and B campus. And so today we want to talk about our opportunities and our challenges. We're going to talk about the third 9 week assessment, and where I want to start today is just some considerations and things to note. First of all, the third 9 week assessment is the entire 2024 STAR test. So it's a lot longer than our previous two district assessment administrations. We also call it the benchmark, so you may hear it called either one. In math and science, we weren't quite done with the curriculum. Certain grade levels, for example, 4th and 5th grade math, have a little bit of content left. So we do zero weight those items they haven't taught, but know that between the time they took the benchmark, which was about 2 to 3 weeks before spring break, until the time they take the STAR, which that begins next week. We have RLA and reading next Tuesday, and then the following week is science and social studies, and then math is our very last one. And so there is about 4 to 7 weeks in between when they administer that assessment and when they administer the STAR. So it gives it a little bit of time where they're going to, campuses are really working on digging into where their kids maybe had some gaps or some deficits and doing some targeted intervention. And then lastly, the test is the same as the STAR in 2024, so the comparison you're going to see is that same test, but of course it's a different group of kids. So just keeping that in mind as well. All right, we're going to start with our area of the most opportunities, and that's mathematics. In third grade, our goal is that by the STAR test there in a couple of weeks, that 55% of our kids will be at the meets level. When you look at where we were at the end of the year last year on STAR, that's the comparison I'm making today. We were at 70, 43, 15. And you can see that right now, when they took this assessment prior to spring break, students were at 66, 37, 13. So we have a little bit of ways to go to get to where we were last year at the end of the year. Once again, really working on targeting those particular standards and content. Third grade was closer to finishing up, but they still had some content left to teach as well. And I'm going to go through, today I'm going to do a little bit different. I'm doing through math, and then we'll go through reading, and so kind of keep you consistent content. Fourth grade is our biggest challenge at elementary, our biggest area of opportunity. As Cody said, we have on STAR last year, we were 66, 45, 19, and you can see we're at 58, 33, 12. Fourth grade has the most new mathematics content. They learn lots of new, the content is new, some standards that are different that they haven't learned K through 3. And so that is probably our area of biggest, or it is our area of biggest challenge at elementary school. So they teach right up until about 10 days prior to STAR. They're teaching that content, and then they have a heavy 10 days of what we call rock and review, where they're reviewing those areas where they're seeing gaps. In fifth grade, we see that we were 80, 52, 21, and we're at 72, 40, 14. Once again, trying to finish out looking at exactly what areas the students need. One of the things that I have done is I've scheduled some one-on-one time with some of our high-flying fifth grade teachers. Fifth grade is where we tend to have our most veteran teachers at elementary, and so I've scheduled time with them, some one-on-one. We'll do some focus groups and some surveying too to figure out what is their need. So as we plan summer training for them, what do they need to help kids get to the level that they need to be at for STAR? In reading, I've been really pleased. We're doing a little bit closer in reading. You can see last year on STAR we were 75, 48, 18. We were already at 74, 44, 17. So we were right there, and we still had about 25 days, between 20 and 25 days, depending when they gave the test, before they take the STAR test, and that's next Tuesday. So we're looking good there, very pleased with that. And what's really interesting is third grade has our highest number of first-year teachers and adjuncts, and yet they were performing pretty well, so we're really pleased with that. Fourth grade reading, once again, we were actually in the same spot that we were last year at STAR. We're a little bit lower in meets. We're at 44 instead of 49, but once again, we have a little bit of time. And then our master's was also a little bit lower as well, 18 compared to 20. Fifth grade reading. We were actually above where we were at last year on STAR for this benchmark. We were at 81%. Our meets level, we were at 55, so we were 3 points higher, and then our master's was a little bit higher as well. So very excited about fifth grade reading. And then fifth grade science, where we have all new standards and new materials. Fifth grade science has really been a challenge this year. We know that things have moved around, things that maybe historically were taught at 6th or 7th grade have moved into 5th grade. Some of our 5th grade standards have moved down to 3rd and to 4th. And so I was pleased with this. We still have a little ways to go, but we're seeing that we're staying pretty close to where we were last year with 5th grade science. Still not where we want to be at all. So just so you know, some short-term action steps from the district level. After they took the STAR, and honestly even before then, we began providing some targeted review materials for our teachers to grab onto and to use, particularly during those 10 days of review. We provided additional planning sessions. While we did minimize the or cut back on the teaching and learning department, we did keep a science specialist that works specifically with elementary science, and she has spent a lot of her time really supporting. She's upped at our most high needs campuses her planning support. Math and reading are doing the same thing. They're out on campuses. We don't have many coaches and specialists at the district level, but from the benchmark until STAR, they spend their time out on campuses planning with teachers and sitting alongside co-teaching, and then also even pulling small groups with kids. So those are some of the things that short term that we're really working on, targeting those high yield standards, those standards that we know are going to be tested a lot. A little bit longer term action steps. Of course, we're working on our strategic transition to Bluebonnet curriculum next year, which looks the same in terms of, from a teacher's perspective, looks very similar to what they're doing now. So not a heavy lift there, but we are working on transitioning that. That's where we're wanting to get feedback from our campuses on how best they can help us. We want to work on our STAR 2.0 questions. Those are the beyond multiple choice questions. One of the biggest areas in mathematics that we're seeing kids miss questions is when they just have to write the answer. And so having lots of opportunity, we build that into our assessments, but how can teachers do that on a daily basis with their kids and really condition their kids to be prepared for that? In terms of reading, one of the things that we've done is after the assessment, we had all of our RLA team went out and calibrated writing with our campuses. And so I'm really pleased. I've been really pleased with that. Teachers are very targeted in how they're scoring writing. And so we will continue to work on that calibration with our campuses, with our elementary campuses. Any questions about elementary?
I have a quick question.
Yes, ma'am.
Is House Bill 4545 still being utilized in our district?
Yes, it has a new number now. It's called 1416.
Yes, I was going to tell you
ma'am.
that.
It is,
You
and
didn't give me a minute.
absolutely no. That is,
Yes, I
it
was
is
looking at that
still.
because I saw the change, and it
yes.
is 1416, and I want to know if it'll still be only because they've added to it to further go.
Yes. Yes, so there is the requirement to have additional hours. At elementary, most of our elementary schools have that time blocked into their calendar, and a typical cadence is to have intervention or acceleration in reading and math and doing it on an alternate day. Some of them will do 2 days of reading, 2 days of math, or they'll go back and forth, but that is built into their schedule, and it is still a requirement. Yes, ma'am.
Thank you.
Absolutely. For our biggest opportunity in teaching and learning by far is middle school math, and y'all have heard me say that the last two times that we have visited it as well. When we look at our comparison to last year's STAR, when you look at where we were at last year, we were at 67, 34, 11. And this is a combination at 6th grade of our advanced and our on-level kids. And what we are finding is our opportunities really lie with our on-level kids at middle school. That's where we are seeing our biggest challenges and places that we need to work the most. So you can see we've got a little bit of ways to go, but this is a combination of advanced and on-level. And so I just want to remind you, as we look at 7th and 8th grade, we made a transition this year. For our advanced kids, in 6th grade, our advanced students, they get all of the 6th grade curriculum and they get half of 7th grade. They take the 6th grade STAR. In 7th grade, they get half of the 7th grade and, the second half of 7th grade and all of 8th grade. And in the past, they have taken the 7th grade STAR. And after talking with teachers and principals and really looking at that, we shifted to to having them take the 8th grade STAR. And the reason that we did that is we found that when they were taking that 7th grade test, teachers, as they should have been, were very focused on the 7th grade standards because that was the test they were taking. And then they were frantically trying to pull in as much 8th grade content as they could the last 6 weeks of school after STAR. And after STAR is probably not the best time to try to introduce new curriculum, or new standards rather. So we made that shift this year. So as we look at scores, oh, and then also 8th grade advanced, remember our 8th grade advanced kids are in Algebra 1. So they're taking that end of course exam. So as we look at our 7th and 8th grade scores, it's a shift from last year because we have our advanced kids pulled out in 7th grade rather than 8th grade where we have typically seen that. In 7th grade math, once again, last year's STAR is all students, advanced and on level, and that we were at 55, 34, 11. We are, with just our on level kids, 26, 7, 0. So you can see this is our priority. This is where our specialists and 2 district coaches and where I know our campuses are pulling their intervention groups is with 7th grade math. And I'll talk a little bit more about action steps around math in particular in just a moment. In 8th grade, you can see last year this was just our on-level 8th graders. Last year we were 58, 24, 5. Right now, with all of our 7th grade advanced and our 8th grade on level, we're at 66, 35, 11. I know that looks like a 1, but it's actually an 11. And so you can see by shifting those advanced kids. So once again, whether we are looking at it as 7th grade or at 8th grade, our on-level kids are struggling, and that's our area of opportunity. Algebra 1, this is middle school, so these are our advanced 8th graders that are taking Algebra 1 as an 8th grader. You can see they were at 93, 58, and 31. And then our high school algebra, this is our on-level 9th graders. They were at 70, 26, 8. Looking at reading, once again, very pleased with middle school reading and where we've been. We were last year on STAR, we were 72, 53, 23, and we are now actually ahead at 74, 54, 22. So very pleased with that and look forward to seeing success on the actual STAR test. 7th grade, we were also ahead where we were last year. We're at 71, 49, 24, so pleased with that. And 8th grade reading, where our goal is 55% of our students meeting that meets threshold, we were at 74, 47, 22. So a little bit lower than where we were last year at STAR time, but once again, we've got about a month of really targeted intervention and acceleration. English 1, I'm very pleased with English 1. English 1 at high school is our area of angst. Typically, we have our most green teachers in English 1. They usually get the 9th graders. And if you're a veteran teacher, you want to be teaching the sophomores, juniors, and seniors and not the freshmen. And so I was very pleased with this. I know our principals and our academic deans at the high school have been very focused on English 1. They've been doing lots of intervention groups. In fact, our RLA specialist has some kids at some upperclassmen at Coronado that she's working with to try to get them past that English 1 threshold. So we're really excited about that. English 2 was basically the same that we were on STAR last year. So English 2 is historically stronger than English 1. Looking at 8th grade science, I know we typically don't spend a lot of time looking here, but we definitely want to look at our 8th grade science. Once again, new standards, new curriculum, and looking at our assessment data from our third 9 weeks, we were ahead of where we were at on STAR last year. So we're continuing to work on just trying to figure out honestly exactly what is going to be tested, because it's going to be a new test. And then biology, those are our 9th graders, sometimes 10th graders that take biology, and you can see they're a little bit above where we were at last year as well. Social studies, we have 8th grade in U.S. history. 8th grade social studies has one of our highest cut points for passing, and so we're pleased with that growth from where we were at last year. And then U.S. history, we're a little down in U.S. history, but once again, I know that it's a small cadre of kids whenever you're talking about being at 91%. So the campuses are really working on those students in 11th grade that weren't successful on the benchmark, getting them ready for STAR. And they've got a couple of weeks left until they take that. Looking at academic growth, that was just achievement. And remember, we also look at academic growth. We run that in comparison to how the kids did on their own STAR last year, and are they growing as a student. And so you can see here, RLA, our goal is that everything be above at least 50%, 50 points. We would love for it to be 70. And you can see in RLA, we were above 50 at every grade level. English 1 didn't have as much growth, even though their achievement was a little bit higher. It wasn't as much growth as we would like, but still above 50. Math continues to be our struggle. We can see 4th grade, 6th grade, and 7th grade. And that is where our planning is really targeted. Chris and Robin and I spend most of our time talking about math. So some short-term goals to get us across the finish line. We've provided in secondary, we actually made all the materials so that teachers didn't even have to make it, and gave them some materials that were targeted around standards we know were going to be tested. And so we gave them 10 days of potential lessons. Before we even took the benchmark, the math team went out and began having conversations around, okay, getting ready for Rock and Review, STAR Review. We know these standards are highly important, so we want to provide those materials for you, so we're giving them those. Increased support, of course, for campuses, for our middle school campuses. So our 2 coaches and our specialists, the 3 central office people, or teaching and learning team that we have, they are now out, as I said, teaching on campuses 5 days a week. We said basically we don't want to see you till after you're done with the STAR. They're not coaching teachers, they are co-teaching with teachers, and they are pulling groups of kids. And in fact, one of our specialists is actually the teacher of record now for a class that we didn't have a teacher for. So she teaches 1 section a day at a campus that just couldn't fit it into their schedule. We also are doing some videos helping kids with, and teachers, especially our new and our adjunct teachers, with what does it look like. Cambium is a platform they take the STAR test in. So we've done some videos to help teachers that maybe aren't getting their kids on to practice, allowing them to get on and practice, and showing them how to answer some of those questions, like the text entry, drag and drop, just making sure kids are understanding how to do that. And that's not specific to secondary. That happens at all grade levels. In RLA, we've continued to calibrate around our extended constructed responses, that writing piece, working with teachers on that. And we feel really good that they're closer to the rubric than they've ever been in their scoring. And the kids are not just writing, I don't know. They are going in and having them go back in. We're looking at it with teachers, making sure that kids are giving their best effort. which has been great. And then 8th grade science, just working on those standards. We pulled 8th grade teachers in for some targeted time before they even got to the benchmark, just to make sure we have quite a bit of new teachers in science and social studies in middle school, so making sure they were well prepared. Long-term planning specifically around math. As at our last meeting, you guys approved a new curriculum material, STEM Scopes Math for middle school. And I'm really pleased with this. I think really we were looking at, we needed buy-in from teachers. We know the scores are not good. We recognize that. We know they need to improve. So we had to have something that is different. We needed to do something different. So Robin has pulled what we call the ambassadors, and they have been a group of middle school teachers, a few coaches here and there, and administrators. And we've had a lot of administrators serve on this committee. We actually have a handful of middle school administrators, more than a handful, that were math teachers, so they understand math. So we are making sure that they're coming in and giving their input. And she took them through a series of learning pieces and then had them choose among the 5 State Board of Education approved math materials for middle school. And they landed on STEM Scopes. We're continuing the work with that group because we want them to be the communication piece. We want them to own it. We want them to set the expectations. We want them to help with the assessment piece. And so they're coming back together in May. Robin and I met with all the principals, middle school principals and assistant principals the last 2 days to invite them. We want them to come, and then we are providing training for both the teachers this summer and the principals this summer too, so that everybody, it is all hands on deck for middle school math. So those are kind of our long-term and our short-term plans for responding to this assessment. What questions do you have for us?
Turn it off. Sorry.
No, you're good. You're good. No problem.
I don't know how it went on. Jason pushed a button.
I did.
See, there it goes again. Sorry.
I saw one slide that was talking about advanced math. I think it was 6th grade, where the growth was the least out of everybody. And I've asked this before. And Kathy, I guess this would be better directed to you. Are we putting too many kids in advanced math? Because our on level is going the wrong way for all of middle school. And I mean, but it also doesn't look like the growth on the advanced is doing well. So like we're missing the boat on both sides, it appears.
Right.
Christy, do you want to talk about how kids are placed in advance?
Yeah.
So in order to place students in an advanced math class, at the end of 5th grade, we use a rubric, and that rubric is determined based upon their scores on not only STAR, but on district assessments. And actually, there's new law now requiring that you have an advanced math. One of the hardships that we face is that when we look at when you do scores, we're using the 4th grade STAR test to make a determination plus district assessments. But by the time we course code to put kids in 6th grade advanced, we don't have their 5th grade scores. Kim showed you that realistically, most kids are less successful on 4th grade STAR than they are on 5th grade STAR. I have a whole lot of political opinions about why that is, and how we look at 5th grade. We can talk about that another time. But so you are making a judgment about who you are putting in those classes using some lagging data. So our principals, our counselors, our teams have been working together to try to make sure that we're putting the right kids in the right spot. The other reality is the entire state goes down in 6th grade. It's the most new content that you see that takes place in 6th grade. Plus 6th grade is just a transition in life. So when you look at growth across the state and achievement across the state, there's a dip for everyone that has a traditional middle school versus 7th grade when we had a traditional junior high. So we're working really hard to figure out what we can do to create an engaging classroom in 6th grade that still keeps our on-level kids at the right spot. for what's coming in the future we're talking about. But we've seen the differentiation you're talking about.
Absolutely.
But, and I appreciate that, but I guess my question would be, do we have the right data? Do we have the right rubric? How long have we been using the same rubric to determine? Because the on-level in 6th grade looked way better. The growth looked far better than the advanced. And that
Right.
doesn't make
Yes.
sense to me based on STAR data for middle school.
4th grade.
Absolutely.
That doesn't
So
seem right.
We've reevaluated our rubric. Actually, we look at it every year and reevaluate where our cut points are. But one of the things we're going to provide you at the end of this conversation is the growth reports and the achievement reports by campus. And I think that will help with some of the narrative. As we break it down, it's different across the board.
Across the district.
So we've got some discrepancies across the district.
Yeah.
But we do, when we examine that, it is with the principals at the table. And I know we've had a lot of conversation back and forth about that. We do, I know the principals do go back after those 5th grade scores come out and they look at, do we have the right people? Because if a student was successful in 5th grade, they may need to be in advance, but if they weren't, maybe they need to be in that on-level class. So they're re-examining that and making those tweaks in the summer. Typically in July, they're having to make those tweaks.
So is there, do we have the ability or do we have the history of, and I'm all for advanced math, please don't misunderstand, but do we ever move somebody between 6th and 7th from advanced back to on level?
Yes, and the same is
What
true
percent
between
is
7th
that?
and 8th.
I mean, is
I would have to pull to look for you. It is.
is it statistically relevant? Like, is it a large enough?
Yeah, I would say it is. Not as significant between 6th and 7th as it is between 7th and 8th. What we
Yeah.
discover between 7th and 8th is when you put a kid in Algebra 1, which is a high school
Yeah.
credit course, we want to set them up for success. So our percentage dwindles probably by, I would say,
Well,
over 20%.
and I actually looked at this last year, and if I remember right, it's been a while, and I'm happy to look at it again. In going into 6th grade, about 60 to 70% of our kids over the last several years have been in advance. By the time they get to 8th grade, that number is down to about 35%, 36%. So we do end up, and a lot of it is between 7th and 8th, and we can get that breakdown.
And it's based on how they perform district assessments on
Star.
and grades.
Absolutely. Yeah, that's a great question.
And just as a reminder, you guys have a board goal that we stay at or above 30% for Algebra 1.
Yeah, yeah. And we have been staying, yes, we have consistently done that.
Other questions, trustees?
I would say overall, data was kind of deflating. I mean, there's a lot of work left
Yes,
to
sir.
be done. Is there an opportunity to add maybe a third column there to see, you stated this is our third 9 weeks, and this is what our 2024 star was.
Yes, sir.
Where were we at the third 9 weeks last year? And that might help
Okay.
with putting in perspective of where.
Absolutely. Yes, we can add that in. I look at the star just because it's, if I look at last year's benchmark, it's a different test and different kids. And looking at the star, it's just different kids. So not as many, quite as many variables, but I'm happy to look at all three because we're digging in. And I know I was at a campus yesterday with the principal, and that's what we were looking at is where were her kids at on benchmark. And she was deflated over some of her 4th grade scores. And so she had looked back last year, and between the third 9 weekend assessment and the STAR test, her 4th grade math, which is what she was worried about, had gone up like 18 points. So she said, I'm okay, because if that happens again, and we're doing some of the same strategies, so we can definitely include that column.
Well, I think that's my point.
Absolutely.
Is that where we can see what was that growth last year
Yes.
between those two.
Between the
And
two,
is
absolutely.
there cause for concern, or
Right.
just a typical growth over
Mhm.
this time?
Yes, sir. We can do that. Okay.
Thank you, Kim.
Thank you, Kim.
Good
morning.
Dr. Rollo. I'm going to go over big picture behavior data for the district. We'll start off with just incident usage by week. So what you're seeing reported here are discipline incidents, things that made it to the office and an administrator administered consequences for it. This shows 3 years layered on top of each other. So the teal is 2 years ago, purple is last year, and green is this year. I'll show this to you in bar graph format, but you just kind of get the feel of the rhythm of the school year from this one. We continue to be down in discipline incidents compared to 2 years ago, but you do see there we've gone up slightly compared to last year. And I can talk more when we get to the breakdown of elementary, middle, and high school about where that's occurring and what we see as patterns in the data. You also see things like our bullying incident and our bullying investigation form continue to be pretty low, but we have seen an increase in fidelity of usage in that in our administrators, which is good after some revisiting and training. The last one there, the last item there is restraints. This is nonviolent physical intervention. We have specific training that we use with our campus and district staff around that, and it's used in very limited circumstances that involve student safety. This slide shows you our disciplinary consequences over the last 3 years. So the first one, expulsion, again, very, very low numbers there. The second one is placement at DAEP, so that's either Priority Intervention Academy or ACEs for elementary students, and that has continued to go down. Brian will dig into the specifics of that data on his slides in just a minute. Out of school suspension is down compared to last year, about even with 2 years ago. And then in-school suspension continues to trend downwards. What we always look at with the suspensions and time out of placement is lost instructional time for kids, right? And so that's not days, that's not kids, that's just times, instances when it was assigned. So sometimes that might be multiple days, or we definitely have specific kids who count multiple times in that data.
So the out-of-school suspension 2,000 is not necessarily 2,000 kids.
No.
Okay.
It's 2,000 instances. When I looked at the breakdown of our district overall kids who have been referred to the office for the whole entire school year, it's about 19% of kids have had at least one referral to the office. When you look at tiers of intervention and the health of a system, what you want to see is your systems are working with 85% of kids. No instances that are rising to that level. Now, I will say, when you dig into the data, that's not district-wide 19%. So there are specific campuses that contribute to that much more significantly than others. So that is a data point that I look at with principals when we meet to go over their campus-specific data, is how many of your kids have been sent to the office this year. And if they are sitting where 85% of their kids have not been sent to the office, that's a reflection of strong tier 1 systems that are effective. But if they have a higher rate of referral to the office, we're talking about those preventative tier 1 systems, making sure teachers are sending kids for the right reasons, but also that we're having clear expectations and consistent enforcement of those expectations across the campus.
I would love over the summer to get that data correlated with STAR data.
I was actually thinking about that while Kim was presenting. We need to layer those.
That might help us as we're talking through, not to pick on schools, but just to look at
how much culture impacts.
A clear picture. We can 100% do that.
Yeah.
And I think it's a thing we could start doing regularly.
And when we tier our campuses, we're looking at
all of them.
All of those data.
That's good. That'll be good for us to see too.
Yes, absolutely. When you look at it by grade level, you see our biggest struggle, our kids who are taking up the most time, are our upper middle school kids and then our freshmen. This is pretty consistent every time we show this to you, that's where the challenge is. And so to your point, looking at middle school being the challenge in academics, it also is frequently the challenge in behavior as well. So this one gives us a breakdown by grouping. So elementary school, middle school, and high school. What you see there is that elementary, and this has been the case all year when we've shown you this data, is up compared to 2 years ago. Again, when you dig into that data specifically, it's certain campuses contributing more to that challenge than others. And so that's where, when I get to our support plan, we go out and we meet directly with campus administrators, review their systems, help problem solve as we see those things coming up. Middle school and high school have both continued to trend down compared to 2 years ago. However, middle school is up a little bit compared to last year. Again, when you dig into that, it's really 2 campuses contributing to that increase for middle school overall. Most of our middle school campuses have decreased their discipline incidents compared to last year. We always want to be cognizant of the fact that we're a declining enrollment district. And so we compare that to the decrease in enrollment, because just having fewer kids in the building could naturally result in fewer discipline incidents. But we've had a 22% decrease in incidents while we've had a 9% decrease in enrollment. So we're outpacing that still. What we attribute that to on our team is the hard work that's put in by our campuses with preventative systems, the work of their PBIS teams, the leadership of our campus PBIS teacher leaders on campus, and then our campus specialists who have been in place across the district. Any questions on that before we move on? Here are behaviors that we highlight for you guys every time. You can see the 3-year trends there. A lot of those have trended down, but things like class disruption have increased. And again, this is pulled from discipline data, things that were sent to the office. Another one that's up is marijuana, and we see that with vapes consistently. I think that's not a Lubbock ISD issue, it's a state and national issue as well. And Brian will talk about the DOI program that's helping address that. And then we've had, compared to 2 years ago, 3 more assaults that didn't involve students. What this typically involves is a teacher goes to break up a fight and they get hit in the process of breaking up the fight, and then a student is charged with assault. Any questions about that data? This just highlights the top 3 behaviors by grouping. So elementary school, inappropriate physical contact, pushing and shoving in line or at recess is what that typically looks like, insubordination, and then violation of student code of conduct. At middle school, class disruption, insubordination, and then just violation of student code of conduct. And then at high school, truancy continues to be the number 1, insubordination and violation of student code of conduct. What we are encouraging campuses to do, and when we pull TLCs together, they pull all of these reports that I'm showing you for their campus. They get to see the district-wide data, and we talk about, okay, so truancy is the top behavior in high school. What are we doing about it, right? Are we posting people at bathrooms during passing periods to make sure that kids are getting out of there? Do we have adults actively supervising in the hallways, encouraging kids to go to class? Are we incentivizing being in class on time? And do we have an effective system for responding to kids who aren't getting to class, right? So not just let's look at the data and admire the problem, but what's our action step to address that specific behavior? I'll highlight one campus that did a really great job with this semester, Atkins Middle School. They were pulling their data in February every week, and everybody knows February is an exhausting time for educators. So they would look at the previous week's data, they'd figure out what was the top problem behavior, and the next week they were incentivizing the opposite of that for kids. They had specific cards they were giving out to kids, they could redeem them for prizes, and they saw an incredible impact from that with their teachers and their kids. So if a behavior was number 1 that week, the next week when they were incentivizing the opposite, it dropped down significantly. Teachers felt more positive. It's a really great way to use this kind of data and have a small action plan that doesn't take a lot of effort, but makes a big impact. So in our department, things we're doing to continue to refine and help campuses positively impact this data. Every campus has a PBIS handbook where they track their systems, Tier 1 and Tier 2. They track student data on there. Our team comes out and helps problem solve around kids who are having recurring behavioral challenges, looking at the patterns, creating behavior intervention plans, frequently providing direct intervention for those students on campus. I also go out and meet regularly with Tier 3 campuses. So Misty was referencing the executive coaching model where certain campuses have been identified for behavior and academics. So I'm meeting with those principals on a rhythm. We're going through all of this data specific to their campus and talking through their action plans, checking in on teachers and students. This year we've been providing monthly professional development. I wish I could say it was really well attended. It hasn't been, but we're continuing to provide it, and we're problem solving about how we can do that differently next year. More trying to take it to teachers at campus. They have a hard time coming up here at the end of the day after they've been teaching. And then our team provides teacher coaching, so they work with administrators to identify teachers struggling with classroom management and go out and provide ongoing coaching for them. Any questions for me? Okay, thank you guys.
Thanks, Martha.
Thank you.
Morning, board.
Morning.
Bridges. Morning, Dr. Rollo. So we're going to dig into DAEP data and our students that are placed at Priority Intervention Academy, or ACEs. Some of the things that I want to highlight on real quickly. I go out and I work with Mr. Trout on a week, well, 2 times a week at least, sometimes 3 times a week. Some of the things that we've improved upon throughout the year is parent feedback has been super positive. They have been very appreciative of the communication. Very at the beginning when their students go through orientation, the progress updates as far as how their kids are doing while they are at PIA, and then the transition back to their home campus. As you know, I work with parents on a daily basis, and they've been very, they've been very appreciative of that. Some of the things that we've done is we've introduced some productive classroom systems. We're actually doing instructional walkthroughs on a daily basis while the kids are at PIA, again, focusing on middle school, and then we also do behavior walkthroughs. So we've got a team that does that on a daily basis. We have created this year a placement review committee. And so every week they meet and they review kids and they look at how they're doing while they're at PIA. Are they meeting expectations? And then that helps reduce the number of days that they are there. We've improved the transition systems, so having the follow-up conversations. So it's not just, the kid was there and then we send them back and then we forget about them. It's following up with those students and making sure that we reduce the recidivism. Communities and schools have been a huge part of that. And so our CIS, Mr. Q has been an integral part in that, and making sure that he goes back to the campuses and works with those kiddos. And then we've created a community mentoring program where we've got people coming in from the outside and working with our students and making sure that they have some role models in their life that they can look up to. DOI update. So just a reminder of where we were at. So last year, at the beginning of the year, we asked you to approve a DOI program where it was a drug intervention program for our students to avoid a possible DAEP placement. And so we piloted it at a middle school and at a high school in the first semester in the fall of last year. And then we did a full district rollout in the spring of last year. So this fall was our first time of where we actually we're starting to see some of the benefits of that. And so what I wanted to do is highlight, so last semester we had 168 students that were placed in our DOI program, and this is grades 6 through 12, that were, instead of going to PIA for some type of drug offense, whether it be under the influence or in possession, they were placed in the intervention program where they had to attend after school. Out of those 168 students, 133 students completed the program, okay? The others, well, they had some type of offense that nullified the intervention and they had to be placed. So some type of suspension-related offense that they had to be placed at, end up being placed at PIA. Out of those 133, 5 of those students ended up at PIA after the intervention.
I ask you.
So I think that's pretty big. 2 of those 5 were for a drug offense. So we had a 79% completion rate. So we had 128 students avoid a PIA placement in the first semester. So I looked at, we had 327 students placed at PIA. If we would have added those 128, we would have had 455 students at PIA in the first semester alone. So huge, and we're seeing those same things in the second semester. So program that I do not want to get rid of.
30-second question. And so with that, those 128 kids avoided the academic disruption of being off their campus. Okay. I thought that was the point. I just want to make
Now,
sure.
they do not have the opportunity to participate in their extracurricular activities during that time.
Yeah. So there's some consequences. Okay.
Yep, they're
Thank you.
removed from any UIL activity.
Right.
Yeah. Okay. That's good, though.
So this is in comparison to where we ended up at the end of the year last year to where we're at right now. So, and I'll explain a little bit further, but right now our placements we're down. Our recidivism is down for the district. The lower left you can see is our breaking it down by middle school, and then on high school, as you saw in Martha's data, our assaults are slightly up. This, I think, is a little bit more revealing in that this is third 9-week comparison to where we were at the third 9 weeks of last school year to where we're at right now. The only thing I want to add is that because of the way the calendar fell, so spring break was a week earlier last school year, and so we added an extra week. But we had, in the third 9 weeks of this school year, we had 265 students placed at a DAEP. That's up by 58 from the third 9 weeks of last year. We had 41 placements, or second time placements. That's up by 4. We had 6 3-time placements. That's up by 2, 0 on the 4. Drug offenses, we had 67 drug offenses in the third 9 weeks. That's up by 11. 55 student assaults. That's up by 1. 12 staff assaults. That's up by 8. 13 terroristic threats. That's up by 1. So third 9 weeks was a rough 9 weeks. Those numbers are down in the first and the second 9 weeks. So what are we doing to as we're now a year into Mr. Trout's principalship, and I cannot brag on him enough. He has done a phenomenal job there at PIA. So working with him, we're going to increase our focus on reducing the recidivism, those returners. We've created an intense monitoring system. Again, that goes into the behavior review committee and those types of things, the mentor support, the focused transition meetings. We're working on credit retention and recovery for our high school students. This year, Mr. Trout and I met with our high school principals, and so we asked for them to come to PIA, take a tour of the building, see what we're doing, but looking at what are they doing on their specific campuses, and having conversations with them. We're going to maintain that dialogue. As you can tell, our middle school is where our issues are at, and so we're focusing our efforts there. I will continue to work with our campus behavior coordinators and training them on disciplined decision-making practices, and then we're going to create a focused assistant principal training this summer as well. So, questions?
You answered my question about the
I'll
returns.
just make one comment. I guess part of the benefit of having the DOI, on-campus placements, I guess, is that they're not at PIA, and you can focus on what you're doing at PIA with those students that really need that really direct intervention. So it's helped reduce those numbers.
It does. It helps reduce our
positively.
numbers at PIA,
Right.
and so we can increase our
Good.
focus there.
Okay.
Do you have the breakdown on nationality on those students?
Yes, I can get that to you.
Okay.
I'll share that with.
Because those numbers were really high at one point
Break that down for you.
with the Hispanics. And that's what I want to know.
Okay. Thank you all. Thank you.
President Bridges,
Yes, ma'am.
would anyone be opposed to us moving our second workshop item to our next meeting? It is on the consolidation framework that we've discussed in a committee meeting, but I delayed my meeting that I had at 10 to 10:30, and I don't want to rush that presentation. Is everyone okay?
If everyone
we
is
do
okay with that, I'm okay with that. It would
Okay, is it a
benefit
long
me
one?
to.
Well, I have.
I think it's something we need to spend time on.
Yeah, I think we need to, because
Okay.
I know you guys may have
So
questions.
yeah,
And we're in
then
the
we need to-
early stages
yeah, I'm
of it,
good.
so it's not something we need to,
Yeah.
that has a
Okay.
timeliness
All right.
issue.
I'm good.
With the group's consent, then we'll move that to the next,
Okay.
to the next meeting that we can squeeze it in on, so,
Thank
thank
you.
you. Sorry, Ken, thank you.
Ken always
I
gets
mean,
pushed.
You do. Okay, with postponing the last workshop item, we have no need for executive closed session, so we will adjourn this meeting. It's 10:23 a.m. and we are adjourned.
Amen.